I'd like to call the proper service meeting to order. First, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're on the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Next is approval of the agenda. Moved by Peter, second by Councillor Turner. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Count my nay, motion carried. Any emergency resolutions? Any emergency resolutions? Any emergency resolutions? Seeing none, we'll move on. Errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes of May 20th, 2025. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the section of the minutes that are that's coastal protection, I had made a statement, and it's not finished. And it says Councillor Turner is not opposed to waiting until more information is known, but noted that this is, and then it just disappears. There's nothing there. I have no idea what I said.
The beauty is we don't either.
There's something there. So I just wanted to
maybe
make
Shelley
that
can
point.
go back in the transcript.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Councillor Parker or Warden Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That same, just a couple of paragraphs below where Councillor Turner was talking about on the motion, it says Russell Smith, should be Gordon Smith.
Okay.
With a motion to invite him to come and talk to us.
Okay. We'll make those changes. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll consider those minutes approved. Next is correspondence. We get two correspondence there. Any questions on those? Warden Parker.
There goes your 5 minutes. Yeah, I guess that light is on. I just wanted to comment on the letter from the Premier, and as everybody knows at this point, there was no applications for exploratory work on uranium here in Pictou County or in the other two counties. But I think there is good news here. I think the province has recognized that they need to consult with people a lot more than they did in this case. And they need to consult ahead of time, not wait until there's a big backlash and then say, well, we're going to have some meetings. But most of the meetings that were held in the communities. And I really think that part of the reason they didn't get anybody wanting to do their explorations was because they didn't want to get in the middle of the flack that was going on. And so I hope that in the future, whether it be fracking or whatever the next one that comes, that we have a lot more consultation ahead of time rather than after the fact. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anybody else? Councillor Wadden.
Just in the letter where he talks about us being the number 60 out of 60 states and provinces, that is serious, and I think we have to take some serious looks at what we're doing to get some growth in this province. So although I don't think fracking is the way, and we have to get more information, that sort of thing on it, I agree that more has to be done here, and the province has to step up and do things a little bit quicker. And also the list of projects that both the federal and the provincial government have contributed to in this county is actually quite remarkable. So the money is being spent here. It's just that there's no growth in the province.
Agree. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move on to the reports. First is Director of Public Works and Development's report. Any questions? Warden Parker. That's all right.
Might get a liquor shop too. The Blue Acre sidewalks, they're coming along good, I see, when I drive by, and they're getting harder scripts done now. Is there, it mentions in here about the lights, but is there any clarification on what, when they put the crosswalks in and what type of lighting or whatever they're going with?
Thank you for the question, through you, Mr. Chair. We did get a report back from the consultant on the lights, but it didn't have all of the safety features included. So I've gone back to them and asked them to revise that report with that information on the lights. Last week I was in touch with them, so I'll just be following up with them and getting confirmation on that.
I'd just like to see us get it done while we're doing the project and not have to come back in later and say we're going to do it.
Yes, yeah.
Once you open those crosswalks up, the danger is there if we don't have some protection from the lights that are in trouble.
Right.
I have one other question if I could, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
On the Green Hill Estates. Are we getting any closer to an agreement? It seems to come back every time as, well, we're close, but we're not quite there.
Yeah, again, thank you for the question through you, Mr. Chair. We did have some back and forth with them. We got them back a servicing agreement, and now the developers team has come back with their own, they want to come back with their own proposed revisions. So our development officer and I have been back in touch with them. They're looking to modify their plan and the agreement. So we're actually waiting to hear back from them again. But they weren't ready to sign the agreement that both of the sets of lawyers had agreed to at that time.
And that agreement is to protect us as a municipality in terms of getting a road for the residents when those houses are built, is that right?
Yes, and the nature of, that's correct, and then the nature of the proposed revisions is apparently going to be related to attempts to modify the overall scope of the project and try to peel some of that road back, but it remains to be seen what they actually propose in the end. Our stance is that they need to construct what is intended to be turned over to the municipality up to the municipality's standards per the terms of the servicing agreement that we have. So we're just waiting for, we've put out there to them what we want to see, and they're apparently trying to come back to us with something else. So we're just waiting for updates on that.
Thank you.
Councillor Watt.
Mr. Chair, through you, just the Chance Harbor subdivision, where are we with that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Again, through you, Mr. Chair. We did actually get a servicing agreement back from our lawyer, which we have sent back to them, and we're reviewing as staff again. It's with myself and our development officer. So we're expecting to provide an update within the week on that for possible servicing agreement revisions there too. But we did get back from our lawyer, and I think we're getting close, and we've been in touch with the applicants as well regularly. So I think we really are nearing the end of that one at this point. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, Warden Parker.
Summer road maintenance. We're pretty well in summer now. We're off close to it, even technically pretty soon. The big concern I always hear is about chloride, about dust control on many of our roads. So I'm just, where we're getting this close, do we have, are the contracts given out for summer road maintenance now? And if so, what are the rules around chloride as to how soon, how late?
Thanks for the question through you, Mr. Chair. The contract tenders close this Friday. We expect the work to be taking place starting over the next week or two. So, and it's all defined in there where we're doing the chloride treatment. So that's all included in the tender. We haven't awarded that work yet, though. Last year there were complaints on the dosing of the chloride. Some residents felt like it wasn't effective, so we've taken that information, and that's going to lead us in our decisions on which contractors we choose for the chloride treatment. But yeah, that closes on Friday this week, and we'll be awarding the contracts thereafter.
Do we know, or do you know who did the chloride last year?
Yes, yeah.
Who was that?
It was Westville Mobile Wash.
That's what I was, yeah, because I communicated with, through you, Mr. Chair, with a private company, who, a name was suggested anyway. They were looking for somebody to do it, not for us to pay for it or anything, but it's not always easy, I know, to find somebody to do that work. But people are really upset when it comes mid to late August and they still haven't got the chloride, and, it's a mess on their cars and their clothes on the line and everything. So I think that's one thing we have to watch carefully, see if we can't get it done at the right time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to the emergency service report. Any questions? Seeing none. The fire inspection report. The next one is the building officials report. last one is the bylaw officer's report. Seeing none, we'll move on. The RFP for dog pound keeper. It was in your package there. There's a recommendation from staff. What's your wishes? Moved by Councillor One to accept the recommendation from staff, which was Shelby Ranch.
So seconded.
Seconded by Deputy Warden Murray. Any questions? Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question. Why has SBCA decided not to do it? They've done it all along. They got 200,000 from the municipality. And all of a sudden now they don't want to do it?
Yeah, I can take that. So totally agree with that statement. However, the SPCA decided, I guess, across the province to close out all these contracts that they had for kenneling and other services. They did send an email out last week with a new fee schedule that is about a 400% increase if we want to house dogs there, as well as some money for call-outs and things like that to SPCA staff. To the tune of about $1,500 if you want their help for a minimum of 3 hours. So it's cost prohibitive in that way, but they're the ones who canceled this contract and sent us looking for a new one.
Okay. Councillor Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So by them canceling it, do we get anything out of that? Is it the end of the year, or do we get a refund on what?
No, they followed the protocol. They provided us the, I think it's 90 days written notice or 60 days written notice. Either way, they met the requirement in the contract.
Up to their expiry date then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor McDonald.
Just one quick question. The criteria for choosing one over the other and that stuff, do they both have pens and that stuff for dogs and animals and that stuff?
Yeah, so I had a look at both these properties in their entirety. They both provided me quite an extensive list as to what they could offer. Both places could offer very similar services in terms of animals that they could keep. The reason I recommend Shelby Ranch over the other is mostly price-based, but the other area also had a lot of contingencies built into their price. To say if we had too much snow and you had a dog that came down here, you would be on the hook for snow removal, different things like that that just didn't really align with how I wanted to move forward. So that's why I made the recommendation of Shelby Ranch.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Dorr.
I guess this is the first question too, and I just got answered so quick. I was, anyway, what happened?
Sure, yeah, I can tell you that story. I believe Anne came to work in my department around 2 years ago. She was transferred to the Emergency Services Department. And it was mostly just to keep all the enforcement within one area. It made sense to have all enforcement under one person, and that was me.
Okay. We'll move on. Oh, sorry. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Count by nay. Motion carried. Any deferred business? Seeing none. Motions of reconsideration. I'll call the meeting of property service adjourned. Not too bad. Huh? Not a record, but not too bad, but.
Good evening, everyone. I will call the financial services meeting to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. First, I need the approval of tonight's agenda. Okay, moved by Councillor Turner. Seconded by Councillor Boyles. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Motion carried. Is not something wrong with my mic? You can't hear me? No, it's not coming through the system. Check. Lights on, but no, one's home. There we go. Okay. Okay. So make sure we speak into our mics. All right, any emergency resolutions this evening? Any emergency resolutions? Seeing none. Any errors, omissions, corrections to the minutes of May 20th, 2025? Any errors, omissions, corrections to those minutes? And finally, any errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes of May 20th, 2025? Hearing none, we'll consider those minutes approved. Reports not requiring a motion this evening. We'll go start by going through communications. Any questions or comments on the communications report for the month of May? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the recreation report. Any questions or comments on the recreation report for the month of May? Okay, seeing none. Warden's report. Questions or comments on the warden's report? Okay, seeing none. Internet report for the month of May. Go ahead, Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just curious as to where we are in terms of governance. We had brought up a number of months ago that we were looking at a governing model for this this project, and I'm just wondering if we've got any further in terms of governance on the project.
Sure. So on that governance piece, we did receive a report, I think, last week, basically engage, and I guess through that we've engaged a consultant to kind of put together terms of reference for the long-term governance, including specific skill sets that would be required for citizen appointments or outside people. So that's being worked on now. The turnaround time for that, I think, is 30 days. And then starting the recruiting process for 30, I think another month, and then really within 90 days having it kind of operationalized. So that's kind of where it's at.
So that's for the citizen engagement, but the rest of the model, the council representation.
Yeah, so that's
business.
all that's all part of it. It's kind of two-tiered approach that there be a kind of an oversight body that would report back to council, and that would have, I focused on the citizen side of it, but there would be council representation as well.
So how do we go about adopting that? Does that just has to pass council?
So there'll be, so there'll be a policy, terms of reference, all of that developed as part of this and brought back.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Parker.
I just wanted to comment to Rhiannon there about the graph here shows the fiber subscriptions from January to May went from 600 to 900. That's like a 50% increase. What gives there? What made it go up so high, I guess?
Yeah, that's
There we are. So that's from January, right from the first of the year till now, that we've gone up those 300 and some subscribers.
Yeah, that's a 50%.
Yeah, and
roughly.
that
So
has,
how did it rise so quick? How did you get so many so fast, I guess?
well, a number of well-planned marketing strategies, we'll say. No, but in all reality, it's the construction that's completed, that's been completed to date, because there's so much more completed as we get, as we pass more homes and we apply that percentage take-up rate, you're getting a larger amount. So because we've had so much come live since between January and now, we've been able to serve that many more people.
You expect it to keep rising at that rate, or what? That's
Absolutely, yeah. The last month, we've been basically maxed out at our residential installs or retail installations we can do. So if we continue on that rate, that's
Well, if you
Excellent.
can keep on that rate, that's fantastic. Thank you, Mrs. Madam Chair.
Counselor Boyles?
Yeah, just want to commend Rihanna and the crew there down on our road. We had a problem the other day and with the internet, but give them a call and bingo, it was cleared up and fixed in no time. So it really, I got to hand it to them. They did a good job.
Go ahead, Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to add to what Rhiannon said, because we've got a lot more people out there installing now. We're putting the lines in and the fiber and everything. We're covering a lot of area, all that back area between Scottsburn and West Branch out to River John all got opened up in those 6 months pretty well. And, you know, so it gave, and we're in areas where there is nothing else right now. There's no choice. So, we should continue to make hay that way when we're going into new areas because people are starving for something. They've had nothing all along. So, you know, it's going to be harder once we finish construction. Then it's going to be harder. It's going to take more work with Rhiannon's group to keep, you know, new customers coming. But as long as we've got positive comments out there, which we seem to have now, it makes it easier for, you know, to attract new customers, I think. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Welcome. Counselor Thompson.
Thank you. Rihanna was gracious enough to come down to a couple of my ratepayers meetings, one in Sunnybray and the other one in Garden of Eden. The meeting in Garden of Eden was, there was a lot of disappointed people there. Rihanna broke the news that the internet, the fiber, will stop at the Moose River Road at the French River Road intersection. It won't be going down through the Garden of Eden. It won't be going down through Eden Lake, and all those communities pass there. And the challenge we have in this area is the permanent residents cannot receive the wireless service. The only option they have is Starlink. A lot of the permanent residents, and I've heard this from many people, they're frustrated down there. The wireless option only works in a portion of the area. And they were under the understanding that their area would be serviced with fiber, but it's the reason why they're in no man's land is because Bell has a fiber line running through it, similar to the situation in Pictou Landing. And the federal government believes that that is a serviced area. And our project is only going to cover unserviced areas. So this unserviced area, because Bell's not releasing their fiber to the residents of that area, it's a backbone fiber that they run through to Guysborough and Antigonish County, and so it's a bad situation right now, and there's a lot of upset people down there, and I don't know what needs to happen to make this right, but it's a cruel joke that was been played on these folks, and I mean, it's like the only thing is they're stuck with Starlink, they're stuck with Elon Musk, because they have no other option, nothing, because nobody else will go down there. So somebody needs to come up with a better solution for these folks, because they deserve what was promised to the people in West Branch or every other rural area in West Pictou right now that's got fiber, and these folks don't, and it's a crying shame.
Counselor Dewar.
Thank you. Maybe they should get a hold of their MP. He may be the one that's able to squeeze somebody to do something there if it's federal. And you never know. Maybe he can open a door, shut a few windows and open a few doors or do something. But I'm pretty well sure if Bell have the complete control of it, they're just going to do what they want to do. But they got to understand if it's serviced, well, then the people got to be serviced. And if it's not, well, then our people should be allowed to go through there. So I'm hoping that maybe that the MP might be able to help shed some light on that, or maybe we should send them a letter to find out if that would help, but anything at all, if it'll help. Thank you.
Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on that, I was at the announcement back 5-6 years ago out of the Blue Mountain Fire Hall, where Sean Fraser and made the announcement. It was St. Mary's was there, Guysborough, about running fiber from Thorburn right through to down 347, down to Guysborough and St. Mary's and all that. And all residents in Blue Mountain will be hooked up with fiber. That's what was said. I got the article, I think at home somewhere. I can find it for you. Picture in the paper with Greg McDonald was standing beside the fire truck, Sean Fraser, the representatives from those other areas. And it was said at that time that fiber would be run down 347 and those homes would be hooked up to fiber. So I just don't understand why the residents aren't going to Sean Fraser, their MP, and ask them why. Because that was the announcement and they were so happy that at that time. So I mentioned this probably 5, 6, 7 times before, and that's, you know, in order to get it, somebody's got to go after them. So,
Warden Parker?
And this has happened in several locations over the time we've been installing this, where they say it's serviced. Scottsburn was one time said, well, they were serviced because there was a line running out to the co-op out there when McConnell's were running it. And eventually they backed off, and they probably will, if we can get some political pressure from the MP's office, might do it. But I wanted to ask Rhiannon that the new gear that's going on some of the towers, and I know there's also some new towers going up, will give, you know, what is it, megabytes per second or whatever, give readings a lot higher, almost comparable to fiber in some areas. So is there a possibility of that delivering a good service? I'm not talking a minimal service, but a good service to the customers on the 347?
So the one specific area that at the meeting that Andy was referring to, there is a patch along Eden Lake where the wireless tower basically comes right down over, it just goes right over top of them, and they just don't have access. So actually, we've already discussed it internally, and if a move towards fiber was not successful, we do have a couple options to get those people served with the better wireless. And that could involve either co-locating on a tower that's located on the other side of the lake that has a direct line of sight to the residents that are without service now, or it could be partnering with the community hall, for instance, to put a single pole up where we put basically a repeater, for lack of a better term, that can reach the main wireless tower and also be low enough to reach over to the residents that aren't getting it today. So if we were able to get fiber, that would be absolutely wonderful. But if not, we have already started working on options to manage that gap.
Thank you.
Councillor Parker?
I think we should take up Councillor Dooler's suggestion, send a letter out to the MP and ask him to, Sean Fraser here, and ask him to look into this matter and see what he can do to rectify it.
You making that a motion?
I will make it a motion, yes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further comments or questions on this? Oh, Councillor Palmer, did you want to speak again?
So I did find the article. It says Fraser told a crowd gathered at the Blue Mountain Fire Hall that Government Canada is investing more than $413,000 to bring new and improved high-speed internet services to McPherson's Mills, Blue Mountain, the Garden of Eden, and additionally to Goshen, West Lock Harbor, North Lock Harbor. So
There it is.
that's in the paper. Why isn't it being done? If it's wise and bound, they got the contract. So I just don't know. The total investment for the Thorburn fiber backbone is $400,410 and will provide service for the communities of McPherson's Mills, Blue Mountain, and Eden Lake. So I just, that's a news article. And that was written by Sue, or by Adam. It's just a staff, but.
What's the date on
That was back in 2018, July 26, 2018.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I just don't know why the residents in those areas don't have fiber now. So, anyway,
Counselor Thompson.
Now, my understanding of, that's why I asked you if it was a press release or if it was a news article, because my understanding of that announcement was that it was for backbone fiber. That wasn't for distribution into the community. And what's happened in Pictou County is Bell is not doing anything in Pictou County. They're doing nothing. Zip. Every other county in the province that they're in, they're running fiber. And that's my understanding of that announcement, was just the backbone fiber to get high-speed internet down to the number 7. The distribution, and when we got involved with the internet, we took all the distribution funding for a lot of these smaller communities away from Bell. We butted in line in front of them. And these folks down here are paying the price for it. So that's my understanding of that announcement.
Counselor Wadden?
Just when we were dealing with Service Nova Scotia, or whatever the outfit was we had dealing with them when we first started setting up the internet project, didn't they, one of the things they got was a blackout in Pictou County for Bell, that they couldn't go forward with any more services because we were getting started with something to do with a blackout anyways, or they were, because even Tim Houston had said something about Bell being blacked out, and I'm just wondering if it has something to do with that. But if we're going to send a letter to Sean Fraser, I'd appreciate if having Pictou Landing area included in that letter as well, or just all areas affected by being supposedly serviced when they're not. So, but I would like to have Pictou Landing included in that.
So would it be okay if we wanted to amend the motion for it to say, we'll name specifically those 2 areas, but there are many areas in Pictou County that are, that do have either, I know myself, Central Caribou Road says it's serviced. It makes no sense, right? So there's lots of these little roads and pockets throughout our municipality that aren't getting necessarily serviced. But I think we should specifically, or I guess, would it be okay if we specifically mentioned the Garden of Eden area from, Andy, can you specify that? Moose River down to just down to the county line? Okay, and then the Pictou Landing First Nations area?
Pictou Landing South Community and Pictou Landing First Nations are both
Okay.
considered serviced.
Okay, so the mover, are you okay with that? And the seconder, who was the seconder on it? With that, okay. Yes, go ahead, Brian.
We have fought this served and underserved argument. We've identified areas that I said have come back and said, yeah, you're right, but doesn't matter. There's no money. The fund is 100% committed. So it can be served, underserved, whatever. If you're building in these areas, you're building on your own dime because the Universal Broadband Fund is fully exhausted. So that's the reality of where it's at because we have proven that communities aren't served, and it's like,
Too bad.
yeah, from their perspective, the federal government's perspective, they've invested all their money that was allocated for the to get everybody high-speed internet by the year 2030. It's fully committed.
So we're hoping for political influence then. Okay. All right, I'll call for the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you, Councillor Bose. I apologize. It was a mistake, I apologize, I didn't see it.
Somebody's gonna turn off.
I'd be voting against this for the simple reason is we're making apple and oranges here. I mean, what kind of council are we to pick out certain ones that we're going to turn around and fight to get something for, and the rest, too bad, nobody's there to fight for you. Well, I got the same thing happening in my area, that, they're not putting it in Hillside, they, in other parts of District 9, and so, to me, it's wrong. And, I mean, any councillor that turns around and forgets about their own neck of the woods and just to please, other people is crazy. It should be one for all for one, and we should be fighting this for everybody, not just certain crews.
Okay. Counselor Dewar.
We are gonna fight for all groups, because Councillor Wadden said, after we said about not having it in Pictou Landing and Pictou Landing First Nation, she said all areas that had this problem. So maybe we'll just not say the areas, or we'll go with what she said there a few minutes ago. She said all the areas, so that's what we gotta do. We gotta look after everybody.
Okay. And we'll close it up with Counselor Palmer.
Just on that, to Councillor Bowles' part, we're only fighting for the communities that have fiber in it now. They're saying they're underserved, right? Or they're not underserved, but nobody's hooked up to these fiber. So we're just asking for residents in this area, because fiber is already going by, for the government to look at having those areas hooked up, having Bell hook those up. It's not about all the other communities. We're just fighting for the ones that have the fiber existing right now. So I just thought we should make that point.
So, yes, so just to clarify, this is just concerning the fiber. It's not other
That's
service.
Existing fiber.
Existing fiber. Existing fiber. Okay, any other questions or comments? Right. Seeing none, we're going to call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay.
Nay.
One nay. Motion carried. Okay. Let's move on to our tax receivable summary for April and May. Any questions or comments regarding that? Okay. D-transfer tax report for the month of May. As you can see, we're holding steady. About to come into the busy summer months with real estate. Questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move along. Reports requiring a motion. Accounts paid for the month of May 2025. Can I have a motion on the floor, please? Moved by Councillor Dewar, seconded by Councillor Palmer. Open the floor up to questions and comments on accounts payable for the month of May. Quiet bunch tonight. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Countermanded nay. Motion carried. Next, we have internet accounts paid for the month of May 2025. Can I have a motion, please? Moved by Deputy Warden Murray, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Go ahead, Councillor Wadden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on a digital ambiguity, they're charged for $130,000. It says project and financial management and oversight. What does that mean? I think overall we spent almost $180,000 to digital for the month of May. But it was $130,000 for this one.
So that would be the overall project management.
Like, there's 4 different checks for digital throughout the month of May, for various amounts. I just didn't know what the oversight in the agreement, what that meant.
Is there a specific line?
There's one here. There's one here for 13,000. There's another one up here for 130,000. Another one here for 36,000. Yeah, and that one. There you go.
Yeah, so the 130,000 is the overall project management, so that includes all the oversight, contract, overseeing contracts and
Okay.
things like that. So that's your project management fee. For that
We're just
one.
undoing the project, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're, is that
Yeah,
what it's
so
for?
that's general project management.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, let's move on to our business items requiring action this evening. We'll start off with municipal service grants for District 1. District 1 Development Society, $1,700 for the community newsletter. Barney's River Station School Museum, $1,500 for maintenance. Hattie Cemetery, $500 maintenance. Kensieville Cemetery, $1,500 maintenance. Kensieville District Action Group, $1,500 to purchase exercise equipment. Lismore and District Community Center, $1,500 for maintenance. Lismore and District Community Center, this is the summer rec program for $1,500 for children of District 1. We have Marcia for the amount of $1,500 for exterior lights, gutters, and maintenance. St. Andrew Cemetery, Edgerton, $1,000 for maintenance. Marigamish Cemetery Company, $1,500 maintenance. Old School Cooperative Merchants, $1,500 operating costs. Pictou County Celtic Association, $400, creation of memory book. Piedmont Valley Cemetery, $1,500 for maintenance. Sutherlands River Community Center, $1,500 for hall upgrades. Telford Community Association, $900 for maintenance. Thorburn War Memorial, $500 for maintenance. District 1 Marigamish Streetlight, $40 for the yearly cost. French River Cemetery Society, $1,500 for maintenance. And Sutherlands River Pioneer Cemetery, $960 for maintenance, for a grand total of $24,000. Okay, it's been moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Turner. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. District 5, municipal service grants. Dalhousie Snowmobile Club, $6,000 for steel roof for the hall. Lions Broken Area Women's Institute, $2,800 for music therapy program. Lionsbrook Hall Society, $7,300 for parking lot expansion. Meadowville Poplar Hill Community Hall, $8,390 for construction of gazebo. Scottsburn Fire Department, $11,000 for pump purchase. Elmfield Hall Streetlight, $40, and Meadowville Hall Streetlight, $40. Both of those are the yearly costs, for a grand total of $35,570. Okay. Moved by Councillor or Deputy Warden Murray and seconded by Warden Parker. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. District 6, municipal service grants. West River Fire Department Auxiliary, $2,000 for kitchen supplies. Salem and Area Recreation, $10,000 for concrete storage building. And Northumberland Regional High School, $5,000, purchase and install greenhouse. Durham Community Club, $3,000 for hall upgrades. Salem Presbyterian Church, $1,500, fridge for the hall. West River Presbyterian Church Hall, $2,000 for hall upgrades. And Lockbroom Log Church, $2,000 for maintenance, for a grand total of $25,500. Moved by Warden Parker. Seconded by Councillor Turner. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. District 9 municipal service grants. Hillside Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. Hillside Community Cemetery, $9,000, purchase of storage, building, and maintenance. Lynessee Fire Department, $9,000 for firefighting equipment. And Priestville Walkerville Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance, for a grand total of $22,000.
That should keep it Hillside Community Society.
Little different, eh? Hillside Community Society. Perfect. Okay, moved by Counselor Boyles, seconded by Counselor Parker. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. And that is our municipal service grants. On your desk this evening, you found the community connectivity grant applications. So encourage groups within your district having an event to connect the community to apply for that. Because you don't spend it, you lose it. So it doesn't carry over from year to year. Okay, moving on. We have a tax sale update. Councillor Boyles requested a update on the upcoming tax sale.
So we should begin posting, notices will go out for this tax sale. We'll begin posting properties in the next week or so. After the last meeting, we did the minimum bids. I did get a legal opinion on whether or not we disclose the minimum bids. And our solicitor has advised that we can disclose the minimum bid. So that'll all form part of the sale. The notion of the minimum bid, the MGA is somewhat silent on whether or not you do disclose it, but our solicitor's view is that by disclosing it, you'll potentially generate more interest in it, because then people will know what the council's expectations are on the various properties. So that will form part of the ad as well.
Okay.
So it's not likely that the bids will come back here just based on timeframes and things and when meetings are. It's probably September before the final report will come back to you, just based on when meetings
Showing
come
what
along.
properties were sold and such.
Yeah.
Does that mean by final report? But
Yeah.
it'll happen over the summer
Yeah.
kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The minimum bid, is the minimum bid based on what's owing on taxes, or what is it based on, that minimum bid?
In some cases, it is what's owing. In other cases, it's us just trying to recover our costs of getting it to sale. So like the title search and advertising and deed recordings, things like that.
And so nobody can bid below that, but can we sell it later at if we don't get any bids on it at that price, can we sell it later at a lower price?
Yes, you could. You could set the minimum bid at $0 or $1.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So anything that doesn't sell can be resold without further notice to the current owner. So let's say property John Smith, we don't get a bid, then we can re-advertise that for sale. I think it's 30 days after, without giving any notice. So we don't have to go back to them and say, we're reselling it, we can just sell it.
Not less than the minimum bid.
That's what I'm asking, if you don't get any bids.
Well, council would have to set that minimum bid.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The council would have to set another minimum bid.
Right,
Okay.
but you can resell it without giving any further notice.
Right, but
Yeah.
council would have to set another minimum bid.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Boyles.
Just so I understand, when do you think the auction will be itself, or the bid will be?
Close them once we they can bid up, it's probably in August that we'll accept them up to the bids.
So in August, that'll be it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We still have to develop the bid form, but so it'll be up till then, and then it'll be September before we get it back to you, just based on meeting schedules, right? Kind of thing. and that's assuming people meet the minimum bid, I guess, is.
Just another question, Brian, is, through you, the chair, is like if next year we're going to have a tax sale, you know what I mean, the rest of them have it every year, are we going to start that, you know, this could be done earlier, or is it always going to be, you know what I mean, going to September before?
No, it'll just flow with the process, so I expect probably within the next month, I'll have another 150 title searches back for the next.
So then you'll be able to do it on, okay, thank you.
Yeah, so they'll start, but it won't always be in the same month. It'll be depending on when you get your stuff back, right?
Okay. All right, let's move along. Volunteer of the Year Award. Councillor Boyles asked that this be placed on the agenda. Having concerns with our, with any MOPC committee member being nominated for Volunteer of the Year. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's brought to my attention, and as I said I'd take it here, and that's what I'm doing, is that people are saying, like, if a person belongs to a committee on the Municipality County of Pictou, sometimes you got a number of councillors on that same committee, and that's sort of turned around and given them a better opportunity to get the vote. And you know, so there's, you know, we got a lot of good people, we had a lot of good people around this time and everything, and not saying that anybody don't deserve it or didn't deserve it. I'm just saying that they think that it's, you know, in the best interest of our volunteers that, you know, that a person wouldn't be on a committee with councillors, that's all.
Okay. Go ahead, Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have to respectfully disagree with Councillor Boyles. We ask people to come on these committees, our committees here at Council, and we have a lot of very good volunteers. The last few calls we put out, I think we've gotten, you know, some very good people on our anti-litter one and on our accessibility and on and on. And I don't think we should eliminate all of those people because they happen to be connected to the county here. There was a lot of good volunteers this year for sure from all kinds of areas, but I don't think it was because the one that was selected was because they were a member of a committee here. I know when I voted for, you know, the top three or whatever we did, you know, I read them all over carefully and didn't vote necessarily because somebody was on a committee here at our council. So I wouldn't be in favor of eliminating those people. I think it would actually hurt us when we put out for volunteers, because we're actually saying you're a different level of volunteer from, you know, somebody with a fire department or somebody with a home and school or whatever. I think they're all volunteers. None of them are getting paid, whether they're here or with all these other organizations. I think they should all be treated, continue to be treated equally. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right, seeing no further comments or questions, we'll move on. New microphones in council chambers. So the microphone system in council chambers needs to be updated, and staff have received, has received proposals. The lowest proposal came from Sound Source Pro Audio, which provided us with two options: upgrades microphone or upgraded microphones with the capability of recording votes. Quotes for both are provided in our package, and we are, I guess, making a decision tonight if we'd like to move ahead with this, and if so, what system we would prefer to use. So I'll turn it over to you, Brian.
That pretty much sums it up. We did receive the two bids, and it was more, we received the first one and it did reference kind of voting, so we went back just to clarify that. And so we got the second proposal. We're a little shocked by the difference in price, but this is probably a decade purchase, right? It's really something for the next decade. So if there is a willingness or a desire to have that ability to vote with the microphone system, record. It probably, it'll integrate into the kind of the video as well, and so people that are watching the video would see the results and things like that. So the only reason we kind of brought it back, the 31 or the $36,000 one is basically just replacing what's here today, the microphone stands and things of that nature. But there is the potential to have more, which probably helps address some accessibility issues and things as well. The more upgraded system type thing. So we just wanted to get your thoughts and preferences, if you had leaning one way or the other. More so than anything, we're planning the budget for the replacement, but just wanted to get your thoughts on.
Go ahead, Warden Parker.
I guess I was leaning toward the cheaper, oh, yeah, can I get that on? Too many things here, too many buttons. I was leaning toward the less expensive. I thought, well, okay, we just need to replace the mics. They have been here now for 15 years, I think, or since we moved into this building. And, but when Brian mentions there about, you know, I thought recording the votes, well, I don't think we have that big a job, you know, counting hands. We did look at something one other time that was going to record votes for us too, I think, but I'm thinking of the person at home. I think there's more and more people watching this meeting from home than what there used to be. We don't get a big audience here, obviously, but there are quite a few people say to me, oh, I watched last night's meeting, or I saw last week's meeting or something, and if it would make it more clear for people at home as to how the vote, what the vote was, you know, we don't maybe always clearly clarify that the vote, we say what the nay votes are, I guess, but that's the only thing I think might be worth that, that extra money. I think whatever we do here with these or whatever else we have recording these meetings at home for people, I think that's very important that they see us, hear us, and all of this type of stuff, because that's the main venue that most people are listening to us, not coming here and listening to us for sure. So that's the, I'm not sure which way I am now, but, you know, looking at the difference and considering that vote maybe more for at-home people. That's my thoughts anyway, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Boyles.
Yeah, when we were up on the FCM, they had some people up there talking on these, and I was talking to them. I think I got the brochure at home. I could drop it off to you. You want to look at it, but the one they were talking about is that not only could it record votes and record what's going on and the new mics and everything, but it also would, the chair would have who wants to talk next. So once you turn around and hit your button, it would show who all wants to talk. And then there'd be no mixing up because it's right in front of you. But I didn't really look at the prices on them, but if you wanted the brochures, I could drop them off.
Go ahead, Brian.
Councillor Deputy Warden Murray did bring back a brochure, and the day he handed it to me, I was like, oh, microphone company, we just got the quote on that system.
Same
so
system.
we did get some information from that. It may be a different one, but we did look at it, and we did, as I say, we did get proposals from 2 companies. The other one was 90,000 plus type thing. So the one thing I will say that this company, when they looked at your microphones that you have today, they say you got your money's worth. These don't owe you anything because they've well, as he said, he doesn't think he has another client that still has these working type thing. So
They lived a good life then.
yes, exactly. And these are not repairable. So as they were down, I think we're down to 19. We have to do a little gerrymandering or whatever here every meeting to keep them working. So we're at a point we have to do something. So whether it's the 34 or 36,000 or the 57. Something has to happen because we can't repair what we have.
Counselor Dewar, did I see your light? Okay.
The reason being, I said, well, let's keep fixing the old ones, and then he said you couldn't fix them anymore, so when we're down to 12 or 13, well, then we'll talk about it again. That's crazy, spending 57,000. Talk louder or send a piece of paper around you want to vote.
Yeah. It's a lot of money, for sure.
Don't you worry, there'll be people keep talking about it. We spend that kind of money just to have a PA system working. But I guess it doesn't matter when it's other people's money. You spend it pretty quick.
Counselor Wadden?
I was just gonna say, it's easier too for the recording and things like that. We do need the microphone and a good microphone system for the recordings and this sort of thing for the council meetings. And that's important for the residents out there as well. And if it makes it better for people to hear us, and I'm assuming that it would help that, because that's a major complaint I get, is that it's very difficult to hear us.
Yeah, so the new microphones these are a unidirectional mic. So if you're not speaking into it, you don't get heard.
Right.
The new mics are, in essence, multi-directional, so you can have it off to the side. It's still going to pick it up. So the technology has changed.
And that's for both quotes, like both quotes?
Yeah,
of the
yeah, in
differences?
essence, the microphone component off it is very similar. It's behind it. It's the controllers, that the voting and things, that's kind of add-ons, but the microphone, the actual physical mics are the same.
Like if we get 10 or 15 years out of, I know it's 50,000, it is a lot of money, but if we get a good number of years out of it with a good system, I think that it kind of pays for itself in the end. So I'd be in favor of going with the one that tracks the voting, although either system is fine.
I guess, what about those mics at the table down there? Because I find it hard sometimes to hear soft-spoken people come in and try to present to us. So if we can't hear them here in council chambers, I'm sure they can't hear them on the internet. Has that been looked into? Those would
Yeah,
be
those
incorporated into,
yeah.
those would be upgraded as well. Okay, I just want to point of clarification. Go ahead, Warden Parker.
Talking about mics, I don't know how to run this one. I do hear Councillor Dewar, what he's saying, that there will be people critical of us spending money on microphones. But I also know that, Shelley, in order to do her job, there's no way she can keep all the notes down of everything we're talking about here every night. She definitely needs that transcript or whatever to go by. So I think keeping in mind what Councillor Dewar said, I think we should go for the lower cost one. We need something, but we maybe don't need to pay that much extra to have the vote recorded. It's like when you buy a car, well, I got an extra little gadget here that'll light up if you're doing the wrong thing or whatever. So it may be too much extra to pay for that extra gadget. But I do think we need to think of the people at home, and we need to think of Shelley, and it's an expense that we have to do, I think, and perhaps stick with the lower prices too. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. We just spent $1.9 million on internet in May, and we're talking about, what is it, $20,000 in the difference. And it was mentioned that it's an accessibility thing. Some of the add-ons on that $57,000 piece, accessibility for our residents to be able to follow along with what we're deciding on. I'm okay with the second quote. And if there's another option out there, I don't know how fair it is to the companies that have already provided us with pricing. Maybe it's too late. But if there's another option that provides that service and it's not as much, I just think we need a, if this is going to be what we have for the next 15 years, let's spend the money where we need to spend the money.
Counselor Bailey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess, first off, Brian, you said that, okay, these are going to be good for a decade. I mean, we got a decade and a half out of these, but and either one of them, you're saying will be, the cheaper one will not be, how do I put it, not as fancy of a system, or not, is that the only difference, is the recording the vote? But also you mentioned something about when we're on video or whatever, the people watching that will be able to recognize better. Are you saying that the sound on these are not, like when you say that they will recognize it better on there, what do you mean by it? When I guess maybe I'm not asking, like what's going to make it that much better for the listener? Put it that way.
So I guess either quote, sound-wise, will be better because it will integrate into our camera system that we have. The camera system we have is modern technology and probably one of the best on the market today. So sound-wise, it'll integrate better. If you go with the voting system modules, that is basically kind of software controlled. So that software will integrate with your camera and you'll be able to basically take the recording of the votes and overlays it on the video. So the person at home would see the vote count, right? 10 in favor, 2 against, right? So that's where they would see the enhanced version of it, that there would be a visualization of the vote as opposed to just the audio of people saying yay or nay and the chair saying motion carried, right? So that's where that enhancement would come from. Both systems from a sound perspective will, the microphone system is basically the same on both. It's the voting system that's being added is kind of an additional piece of information that ties in and gives the chair within the room, the chair will see the results basically instantaneous or when everybody's basically done, and we'll be able to say the motion's carried, like type thing. So they'll know. So it'll improve in the room, but the viewer at home will see the results too.
Madam Chair, okay, so there's got to be other stuff in there. I'm sure that module for the counting of the vote is not $20,000. There's got to be other.
It pretty much is.
That's
like
pretty well is? Oh, well.
And a lot of it's
Okay.
because it's.
I was like Councillor Thompson, I was leaning towards the high one, but if it's just for counting the votes, then
It's the software and stuff behind it that runs your mics, right? It becomes a little more technical, but.
I guess technology's changing every day. We got to get out of that. We can't keep driving the horse and buggy. So to me, yeah, I guess I'd still lean towards the high one, but I think we have to change one way or the other. Thank you.
Counselor McDonald?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wondering about this accessibility of improvement of accessibility and that stuff, and being on the accessibility committee and that stuff. Will it be easier for somebody with sight things like our website starting to go there for accessibility? Is there anything benefit for people with sight or hearing or stuff like that?
I would say on the hearing side, it'll be a visual, right? That the vote count would show up.
There wouldn't be.
Visual, the sound quality will be greatly improved. Feel free to chime in if anybody wants to add anything to it, but.
If it's gonna show up on the screen, then it's gonna improve it, because it was never there before.
Yeah.
But it was closed.
It's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they do
it-
it
it-
now.
one of the things right now, the Microsoft Teams does a closed captioning module. It's not very good. So AI will eventually improve that, but the current version that we have, if you read the transcript from the meetings, it's somewhat garbled type thing. Some of that could be just the quality of the sound going into it, and that might improve with the mics, but right now I think it's more of a limitation on the program as opposed to.
I think Cape Breton Municipality uses the online, like I've watched their council meetings before and it comes up on their screen of who voted, like Joe McDonald, District 1, check mark, District 2, X or something. So if you ever want to check it out, their meetings are online.
And this is in essence the same system that's being proposed here because the company did CBRM and HRM.
And just- I definitely think we have to improve something here. We either we go with the expensive one or the cheaper one, but it's just scary how you can't hear people on the watching it online half the time. I mean, I'm probably guilty as anybody else not putting that up straight on and that stuff, and it's.
Yeah, we can all be guilty for not speaking directly in our microphones, so you can hear the difference, right? But I don't, voice to text, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know with my accent, sometimes they don't pick it up quite as clear. Go ahead, Deputy Warden Murray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There, you can hear me now, speaking into it. On the second one, does it not have for each speaker, doesn't a light come on, like for, I understood when I was talking to the representatives there, that everyone who was in line to speak, that would show up at the chairperson's monitor. Is that in this, I wonder?
Yeah. We believe it is, like, we're basing it off a brochure type thing and saying, but yes, that was our kind of understanding, that it integrated the whole function of.
There's 64 channels on that.
Yeah.
Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to make my decision on two factors. One is accessibility, and we've talked about that here, so I don't have to talk about that much more, because Joe and I and we're very concerned about the accessibility of our residents getting proper information. Second thing is about repair. It's $57,000 this year. As these break down, they're going to have to be replaced. Next year, they'll be $60,000. Year after that, it's going to be $65,000. Price is going to increase as we go forward. So if we make a decision now with the $57,000, you know, it's going to last for 15 years. It just seems like a logical decision to me, because as these break down and have to be replaced, the costs are going to keep going up and up and up, the same as everything in this world. So those are the two things that I'm going to base my decision on, is accessibility, which is a no-brainer for me, and repair with the increase in costs. So those are the two reasonings for my decision to vote for the $57,000.
So you're going to make that a motion, Councillor Turner?
I'll make it a motion.
So the motion is for the $57,000 unit? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. So just to be clear, before we vote here, this is for the $57,000 with the voting system in it, okay? That is the motion that's on the floor. Okay? Go ahead, Councillor Bailey.
But also, we'll get that 7,000, or some of that, most of that 7,000 back, is that correct?
The taxes, the
yeah.
We'll
HST,
get the HST rebate back on the 57,000, yes.
but it's not the full 7,000.
Not the full 7.
Okay. All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Nay. Nays, put your hand up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, motion carried. Okay, next we'll move on to our in-camera meeting.
Maybe we should record the ones that voted against it, just
Yep, I
For the
usually do
world to
that.
know.
I did,
Thank
that was
you.
my fault tonight, Counselor Dewar. So we had 4 counselors vote against it, Counselor Dewar, Counselor Boyles, Counselor Parker, and myself, Counselor McKeel. Okay. All right, we need a motion to go in camera. Moved by Counselor Palmer, seconded by Counselor Turner. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. We good? Lovely. Any deferred business this evening? Seeing none, any motions of reconsideration? And I'll open the floor up for community announcements. Go ahead, Councillor McDonald.
This Saturday, there's going to be District 1 Community Appreciation put on by Miramichi Fire and Barnish River Fire. It's going to happen at 12 to 3. There's going to be bouncy houses, demos, and lots of food and that stuff there. And on Sunday, June 22nd at 2 p.m. at the Lismore Community Center, there's going to be a tribute to Eileen McKinnon, honoring her hard work and her dedication to the arts and the community. There'll be music, food, and refreshments there, and everybody's welcomed. Thank you.
Great tribute. Go ahead, Councillor Wadden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For District 2, we have our Family Day planned for June 22nd from 11 to 2. And the Family Fun Day is open to all residents of District 2. There's going to be inflatables, games, food, music, all that kind of stuff. So we're really hoping that people get the word out and can attend. Secondly, with the library, the Glasgow Library is moving because they're going to start renovations there. So the closing date in Glasgow will be June the 14th, and they'll be reopening July the 2nd at the Aberdeen Mall, around back of the Aberdeen Mall, for a temporary home while they renovate New Glasgow. Also, just coming up in July for the Ship Hector, the launch of the Ship Hector. On July, I think that's July 12th, the Hector's being launched. On July the 11th, we have a gentleman coming in from, I think he's coming in from Scotland. Anyways, he's going to speak on immigration from Scotland to Nova Scotia back in the 1700s, why these people left their home to come to Nova Scotia. Because we know once they got here, kind of the story of what they went through, but we thought maybe people would be interested in hearing why they left to begin with and came across. And we'll even be on Zoom. It'll be an in-person thing as well as on Zoom if you can't make it to Pictou. So I just thought I'd highlight that because we're kind of excited to have that guy coming in to talk. So.
Definitely interesting. Thank you. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. District 8 ratepayers meeting, the Abercrombie Community Center, on Thursday, June 26th at 6 o'clock.
Perfect. Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There. We did, you probably noticed on the way in that we have the pride flag flying. We did assistance from Adam and Sue-Ann, and there was a crowd of about 20 people there, I think. So everything went good this morning, perfect weather, and pleased to have that flying for their. So I think they went to all 6 municipalities today, at 6 flags already. So the other one is at tomorrow, and I think everybody received this. Tuesday, June the 17th at the Wellness Center, Wellnify Community Wellness Challenge. So it's a wellness challenge being sort of headed up by Ignite locally here. I think West Surrett was the one that sent the notice out from Ignite. But it's a competition for 2 weeks and based on things like the number of steps and some other stuff like that. And to see, I think there's 3 parts of the province, I don't see them right now, but 3 areas of the province that are taking part in this. I believe Sydney is one and maybe Yarmouth. But it's just to see, it's to get people to start doing basic things, to get them moving and to get them, as we've talked about here many times, you know, to get people moving. So this is just an effort being put on by Ignite, but if anybody's interested, it's tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, between 2 and 4 at the Wellness Center, just to kick it off, and then that'll be ongoing for the next couple of weeks. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councillor Thompson.
Couple items here. First, I want to congratulate the Garden of Eden Women's Institute. It's their 70th anniversary, and they're celebrating on June 17th at 1 p.m. It says, join us for cake and tea, celebrating 70 years of meeting in the Garden of Eden. And also this, I believe it's this weekend, there's a family day happening in Blue Mountain as well. So it's well posted. It's going to be at the fire department. They're going to have lots of things for all ages in Blue Mountain. So Lots to do on the 347.
Perfect. Counselor Wadden, you had something to add?
Yeah, I couldn't remember the guy's name, so I was scrambling trying to see it here. It's Dr. Malcolm Van Gore Jones who will be doing the presentation on the ship actor.
That name's familiar. Is he from? Oh, he's from Scotland, but I guess it's not familiar. No. Too many last names, right? Okay, perfect. All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much. I will adjourn the meeting with nothing else on our agenda. Thank you very much. Safe drives.